Hi everyone, I'm Ashley with On and Off Balance Yoga, and today we have a power yoga class for you that is centered around taking your journey one step at a time and really trying to stay in the present moment, which isn't always easy to do. During our class today, we flow from one pose to the next a little more quickly than some other styles of yoga because it is power yoga. Take breaks whenever you want them, have water whenever you want them. And as I discussed at the beginning of class, we start in child's pose. You are always welcome to come back to child's pose for a break, for some extra centering, to just really soak in that present moment. So you do what works best for you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Enjoy the beauty of today. Namaste. Oh, thank you so much for coming today. We're going to start our power yoga class in child's pose today. So you can come to your mat, knees out wide, arms extended long in front of you. Just bring your forehead to the mat. Just start to come into your breath. Take some nice cleansing breaths here. In through your nose and out through your nose. As we go through our practice today, just know that you can always come back to your breath. You can always come back to this pose of child's pose. And power yoga will be flowing through poses a little more quickly today. And you may find that you need to come back to your breath a little bit more and really take that time and take that moment to say, I'm going to cleanse and I'm going to breathe in and out. And you can use what's called your Ujjayi breath. Just kind of sounds like an ocean in your head, where you're breathing in and out through your nose. And you're doing a little constriction in the back of your throat to make it sound like an ocean when you exhale. So that's something that we can practice a little bit as we go through our class today. But just something to keep in mind, especially while we're in child's pose, getting ready for our practice today. And before we really come into any more movement, take a moment to set an intention for your practice today. What do you want it to look like? What are you hoping to either get out of it or just what do you hope for this class? Take a moment to set your intention. On your next inhale, inch your fingers forward. So you're walking your fingers forward, feeling a little extra stretch in your shoulders. And exhale, walk your fingers over to the right, getting a nice stretch all along the left side of your body. You can bring your left hand over your right hand if you want a little bit more. Keeping in mind, we're just warming up the spine here. So easing into your movements. Inhale, walk your hands back to center. Exhale, reach those fingers forward. One more inhale. Exhale, walk your hands over to the left. Feeling that stretch all along the right side of your body. On your next inhale, walk your hands back to center and then reach those fingertips forward and meet me in your tabletop pose. Spreading your hands about shoulders distance, knees at hip distance apart. Inhale, look up, cow pose. And exhale, round your back, looking down, cat pose. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. And then just do a few at your own breath. Waking up your spine, looking up on your inhales, and looking down, rounding your back on your exhales. Do one more round here. And then when you're ready, come back to neutral spine, tabletop pose. You're gonna leave your knees where they are, leave your hips high, and just drop down to your elbows. You're gonna leave your left elbow, actually I'll do my right one. Leave your right elbow down, and you're gonna lift your left hand high. So we're getting a nice little twist. Reaching up to the sky. On your inhales, trying to lengthen that spine even more. And exhale, see if you can twist a little bit more. One more inhale here. Exhale, bring your forearm to the mat and switch sides. So you leave your left forearm down. Inhale, reach your right arm up. I love poses like this at the beginning of class because it, when you stay in the present moment and you really feel this pose, for me, I know that I feel a lot of constricting. Like I don't have a lot of opening at the beginning of class, but then it's really cool. You can bring your right forearm back down to the mat. It's really cool at the end of class. Push up on your hands, couple cats and cows. It's really cool at the end of class how when you go to do a pose that's similar to that, like we'll do a twisting pose toward the end, and you say, wow, I feel so much more open. I feel, just looser and so much more ready for the day. So feeling a little tightness or like it's being a little constricted is kind of nice at the beginning of class. Just recognizing it and saying, whew, this is how I am right now. It's wonderful. Reach your right hand out in front of you. Your fingers are stretching long. Palm is facing the side of your mat. And just stay here with your spine nice and long, pushing on your mat with your left hand and grounding those fingers into your mat. And now, if you can, lift up your left back leg. And you can either put it behind you with your toes resting on the floor, or even lift it up. So we have one straight line, making sure to engage your core and just tucking those hips under, trying to keep those hips square. Using your hands to really push on the mat. Active fingers reaching toward the front of the room. One more inhale here. And exhale, bring everything down to the mat. Cats and cows, do one round. Exhale, cat. Back to neutral spine. And then lifting that left arm just right out in front of you. Facing forward. And the same thing before we lift our right leg, feeling that engagement and that lift and that long spine. And then when you're ready, either stepping your right foot back or lifting it up all together. Again, square hips, using that core to engage, belly buttons up and in. I'm feeling the humidity already. It is beautiful outside though. We'll take it. One more breath here. And exhale, hand and knee to mat. One more round of cats and cows. And then when you come back to your tabletop, just do a couple C curves. So you move your hips to one side, your shoulders to the same side, or to the opposite side, getting a nice stretch along each of your side of your body. It's almost like you're kind of leaning back and forth. It's not a specific yoga pose, but man, does it feel good. When you're ready, go ahead and meet me in your downward facing dog. It's the first one, so be gentle with yourself and walk out your feet. Bend into one knee, bend into the other. Shake your head yes and no. And when you shake your head no, still say, I'm open to all possibilities. I'm just moving my head around. Nice. Hands are about shoulder width distance. Feet are about hips distance apart. And if your down dog feels a little bit funny, you can just shift forward and just see if when you're in your high plank here, are your shoulders over your wrists? If they're not, if you're way far forward like this or way far back like this, adjust your feet a little bit so that your shoulders are over your wrists. And then it'll be easier to push right back. Your downward facing dog will hopefully feel a little more comfortable for you. If it still doesn't, you may even want to try to bend your knees a little bit so you really get that extension all the way up your spine into your tailbone, straight from your arms. Inhale onto your toes. Exhale, drop your heels to the right. Inhale to come center. Exhale, drop your heels to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Walk to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, hands on your shins, flat back, fold. Halfway lift, fold. Inhale, reach, rise all the way up, like you're gonna touch the sky, active fingers, palms facing each other, hips are tucked, high mountain pose. Cactus your arms, exhale, lean back, slight arch in your back. Inhale back to center. Exhale, reach back. Inhale back to center. Exhale one more time, reaching back, pushing those hips forward. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold all the way down. Halfway lift. Plant your hands. Step back to high plank. Shift forward, and you can feel free to drop to your knees here for your chaturanga or our low plank, or stay up. Just this is our first one, so treat yourself kindly. Dropping to chaturanga with your elbows right next to the sides of your body. Flip to the top of your feet. Push up to upward facing dog or low cobra. and push back, downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And exhale. Inhale on your toes. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, empty all the way out. Step or jump forward. Halfway lift. Fold. Inhale, rise, reach all the way up to the sky and fold. Halfway lift. Step back, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And exhale. Lift your right leg high. Bend your knee. Stack and open up your hips. Trying to keep your shoulders square to the floor. One more breath here. Exhale, step forward, warrior one. So your back foot's about 45 degrees. Your right knee is over your right ankle. Arms are up high, facing the front of your mat. One more inhale here. Exhale, chaturanga, bring it all the way down. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left leg high, bend your knee, open your hips, stack them one on top of each other. Feeling that opening here. One more inhale. Exhale, step forward, warrior one on your left. Rise all the way up. One more inhale. And exhale all the way down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Spine is nice and warm. Muscles are feeling it. Go ahead and lift your right leg high. Step forward to low lunge. Let's get your feet in two separate lanes. Your fingers can be touching the floor while your chest is still risen, facing the front of your mat. Feeling that nice stretch and opening in your hip flexor. Front knee is over your front ankle. One more inhale here. And exhale. Now plant your left hand on your mat. Twist all the way open by raising your right arm to the sky. Fingers stretched, reaching. And on your inhales, try to lengthen that spine. And then exhale, twist it out. You can even play around with coming up onto your fingertips front on your left hand and seeing how that feels. Nice, bring both hands back down to the mat. One more breath here. And exhale, drop that back knee and come onto the back of the top side of your foot in the back. And then your right leg is still bent. You got your knee right over your ankle. You can bring your hands up to your leg, just feeling that extra deep stretch here. And then you're gonna bend your back leg. And for me, this tends to hurt my knee if it's on the top of my kneecap. So if that's the case, scooch your knee back a little bit. So I was here, I'm gonna scooch my knee back a little bit and then bend your back leg. And then you can grab with your left hand to feel that quad stretch. And you can stay here with your right hand on the inside of your right foot. You can bring it up to your knee, whatever feels good here. Maybe starting to activate that Ujjayi breath. Breathing into the sensation. No pain. No pain. If there's pain, back off, try something different. If you're feeling that tightness release or that sensation, just come back to your breath. Go ahead and drop that back leg and come back to your low lunge, one hand on either side of your feet, or your right foot, I should say. Straightening out that back leg and placing your hands going into your chaturanga from your high plank, low plank, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Nice job. Lifting that left leg high and stepping forward to low lunge. So same thing on the other side here. We're in our low lunge, lifting our chest, trying to have that nice extension in your spine. Taking a couple cleansing breaths here. Sometimes it's hard to be present, especially during something like power yoga. It's a little bit more vigorous. Some people tend to shift their thoughts a little bit to, ooh, I'm sweating a lot, or this is hard, or what am I doing later in the day? And that's okay, that happens. But if you can, try to see if you can just stay in this present moment. Focus on, the good things that are happening. One more inhale here, and exhale. You can drop your back knee and coming into that quad stretch behind you. Reaching around with your right hand and bending that right back foot. And you can either leave your left hand on your mat on the inside of your left foot, or you can bring it up, make it a little bit more of a balance while you get a stretch. Your call. Do what feels good. You may find after doing some of these stretches that one side is a little more open than another. Totally normal. I feel like so many people say that. Say, oh, my right foot can go, all the way back to my bum, and my other one's like 5 inches away. And that happens. As long as we keep practicing and evening each side out, it'll get there. Everybody's body is so different. It's something to celebrate, to be honest. All right, you can drop that back foot. Frame your left foot with your hands coming back to your low lunge. Inhale. And exhale, step back, high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. You can walk out your dog if you'd like. Shift side to side. What do you need right now? Need a drink? You can grab a drink. Get a drink whenever you want. That is always your right. No matter where you are, right? All right, go ahead and walk your hands to the back of your mat to meet your feet. Let's just hang out in a forward fold here for a minute. You can bend your knees, kind of stretch more in your low back if you do that. You can straighten your legs, just try to keep a little micro bend in your knees, and that'll stretch your hamstrings and the back of your legs a little bit more. Again, what does your body need right now? Let's go there. Toe heel your feet together so your big toes touch. Slight gap in your ankles. Come to your halfway lift. Fold. Inhale, chair pose. Arms are right next to your biceps, are right by your ears if you can. And whether you're up here in your chair pose or you're down here, chair is chair. You sit how you like. It'd be good to lift those toes up off the mat a little bit, wiggle them around, then put them back down. Bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twist to the right. So your left elbow is gonna hook on your right leg, and then you're twisting that spine. Hands are still in prayer. Inhale, open up your arms. So now your right arm is reaching toward the sky, left arm is reaching toward the earth. And on your inhales, you are lengthening that spine. Exhale, twist a little bit more. One more inhale here. And fold, exhale. Halfway lift. And fold. Take a breath here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Maybe sinking down a little bit more than you were on the other side. Bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twist. Open up those arms. Arms are reaching. Spine is twisting. You can even look up at your top hand if that works for you. One more breath here. Exhale, fold all the way down. Nice job. Halfway lift. And fold. Reach, rise all the way up. Trying to touch the sky with those fingertips. And tree pose on your right. So you're gonna lift your right foot, and I'll turn this way you can see a little bit better. Lift your right foot and either place it right below your knee on your calf or your shin, the side of your leg, or you can lift it and bring it above your knee. Just don't put it on your knee joint right there. That's no good. We don't want any injuries. Just making sure that your left foot is planted firmly on the ground, facing forward. And bringing your hands to heart center. This is a great moment to come back to your intention that you set at the beginning of class. And grow your tree when you're ready. Lift your hands high. Keeping that focus or your drishti, try to help you stay in this yoga pose. Stay balanced. Can you try to open up that knee a little bit more to get some more opening in your hips? Do you want to reach your arms up high or even start moving your gaze up the ceiling or behind you? Bring your hands back to heart center wherever you are. You're going to drop your right foot to the mat. And then you're going to cross your right foot over your left foot and then fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Uncross your feet. And then tree on your left. And maybe on the left side, maybe you explore something different with your arms. Maybe Once your foot is situated and your right foot is facing forward, grounding into that mat. Okay, ground into your mat to grow even higher. Maybe this time you could reach up high and look back if you didn't the last time, or maybe you create a bind behind your back by interlacing your fingers behind the small of your back and then getting that nice shoulder stretch in. Go somewhere new if it calls to you. Most importantly here, come into your breath. One more deep inhale here. And exhale, drop your foot to the mat. Release your hands if you had a bind. Cross that left foot over your right foot and forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Uncross your feet. And then meet me in your downward facing dog, please. Settle into your downward facing dog. And once you're ready, reach your right leg high, bend, stack, open those hips, and step forward, crescent lunge on your right, lifting all the way up. Open up warrior two. Knee over your right ankle, back foot is at about 90 degrees. Arms are reaching forward and backward. So much energy. It's like energy is just flowing from my fingertips. Reverse, flip that front palm, reverse all the way back. Come forward, side angle, resting your right forearm on your thigh, reaching with your left hand high to the sky. It's another good place too to lift up those toes, wiggle them around, and then place them back down. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, extended side angle, coming all the way down, right hand to the mat, next to your right foot. Left arm reaching forward, bicep right by your ear. Legs are still the same though as warrior two. It's really just some upper body movement here. Let's do a couple arm circles one way. You pick the direction. And the other way. Nice, and bring your hand to heart center, just that left hand. You're gonna put your left hand, place it on the mat, come into your side plank. So whether that's with your hand down, so you put your left hand down, you're gonna have to shift over to the razor edge of your left foot. And you can be up here in your side plank. You can drop down to one knee. You can drop to your elbow, whatever feels good, okay? So whether you're here, wherever you are, your hips are high, or you're here, or you're up all the way here. You wanna add a little bit more? Go ahead and lift that right foot. Try to see if you can lift and reach high. So much energy in your body. Using that core. Gently bend your right knee. And if you didn't bend it, or if you didn't lift it before, lift it and then bend your knee. Step back to wild thing. So now both hips are lifted high to the ceiling, high to the sky. Right arm is reaching toward the front of the room. Getting that heart open. Breathing here. And come all the way around to your high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Nice job. Walk it out here. Inhale, lift your left leg high, bend, stack, open those hips. Step forward, crescent lunge. Open it up, warrior two. Left leg is forward. Left knee right over that ankle. And just being cautious that your left knee isn't trying to inch its way to the right. Really trying to open up those hips. Reaching front and back with your arms. Flip your front palm reverse. Reaching toward the back of your mat. Bring it forward to side angle. Left forearm on your left leg and reaching high with that right arm. This is another good time to check in with your shoulders. Do you find that they're up here close to your ears? If so, just relax them back down. Make your neck nice and long. Inhale, reverse. All the way back. And bring it all the way down. Exhale, extended side angle. Left hand to the mat. Right arm reaching forward. And your right foot, you're really pressing on that outer edge of your foot. So much energy here. Let's do some arm circles. You choose the direction. One way, and then reverse. Bring that right hand right to where your heart is. Place it down on the mat next to where your left is. Then you're shifting onto the razor edge or outer edge of your right foot now for side plank on your right. And again, remember those variations. So many options here. Lifting that left leg if you can. And if you find that this is too much, because we're going to go into wild thing. If it's too much, you can be here and then just step back. Okay, so if your leg is lifted, bend your knee, step back into wild thing, and you're reaching toward the front of your mat. Right leg is long. Nice bend in your left leg. One more breath here. Lift those hips. Exhale all the way around. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Woo! Nicely done, everybody. Keeping in mind at this moment that you always have child's pose to come back to, right? We started that way today. You're welcome to come back to it anytime you want. Go ahead and walk your hands to the back of your mat. Grab both of your big toes with your peace fingers, okay? Your pointer and your middle finger. Grab both of your big toes, making sure your feet are about hips width distance apart. Inhaling to a flat back while holding those toes. And exhale, fold. Just hang out here for a little while. You can bend your knees. You can sway back and forth. You can find stillness. And close your eyes. Really be in this present moment right now. Go ahead and release your toes. Toe heel your feet back together. Halfway lift. Fold. Inhale, reach and rise all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Now you're gonna spread your feet out so you can just toe heel them out or just take some steps so that pretty much your heels are gonna be on your mat and your toes are gonna be off of your mat, facing out. And you're gonna squat all the way down to our low yogi squat. Pressing your elbows into your knees. You can turn a little so we can see here. Well, it looks like this. Keeping that spine nice and long. If this is too much for you, you can always take a seat all the way down into more of like a butterfly pose. Okay, so this is an option for you. We are going to be doing some movement with it, but also if you have a yoga block or a bolster, you could sit on that as well. Gives you a little extra support if you want it. Nice. So you're at the back of your mat. Knees are wide, elbows pushing into your knees, really getting some nice hip opening here. And you're gonna place your hands down about shoulder width distance. Okay, now you can stay here. Okay, you can stay here, or you can place your hands down on the mat and then push up so your legs are straight and you're leaning forward and really activating those fingertips, using those shoulders to hold some of your weight and your balance. And then come all the way back down to low yogi squat. Go ahead again, put your hands about shoulder width distance in front of you. I'd say about 1.5 feet from where your feet are. And then lifting onto your toes maybe this time and leaning forward. And this time, walk your feet to meet your hands. So now we're gonna end up closer to the middle of your mat and then come back to your low yogi squat. One more time, reach your hands down. Come right up onto your toes, straightening those legs, leaning forward. And walk your feet to meet your hands. And right back down to low yogi squat. You can stay here for this one, or you can do exactly like we did before, where you leaned on your hands and walked your feet up closer to your hands, or you can come into crow pose. So crow pose, put your hands again, shoulder width distance, but instead of straightening your arms and legs all the way this time, walk your feet closer together. You're gonna bend your arms so that you have those chaturanga arms. Lift up onto your toes so that your knees are really close to your armpits. Leaning forward, looking out in front of you, crow pose. Using your fingers to grip the mat here. Keeping that balance. 3, 2, 1. Step back or push back to chaturanga. Upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Nice job, everybody. Wherever you went, I hope it was right for you. Maybe you even stayed present during that moment and said, wow, look at my balance, or ooh, I'm gonna do this next time. It's great. Shift forward, high plank, and then slowly lower all the way down for 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it, and 1. Oh, drop all the way down. Bring your right cheek to the mat. Just breathing. Go ahead and bend your knees, flex your feet, and we're gonna reach back for bow pose. You can grab your ankles. You can grab your feet. We are going to do 2 of them. So if you want to do one-legged, you can do one side and then the other if it's too much to do both at the same time. On your next inhale, lift everything up. Lifting up your knees and your chest, using your legs to even bring you up even higher. Breathing in and out through your nose. One more inhale here. And exhale, drop everything to the mat. Bring your left cheek to the mat. And just keep your knees bent. And windshield wipe them back and forth, left and right. Releasing that tension. Okay, straighten your legs, bring your arms right out in front of you, chin to the mat, and then just do a long body stretch here. We're reaching, and relax. Keeping your chin or your forehead on your mat, bend your knees. We're gonna do one more bow. You totally got this. So if you did one side just before, switch to the other side. If you did both at the same time, one more. Let's do this. Reach back for your ankles. And on your next inhale, lift everything up. Inhale. Maybe you can go a little higher this time. You have more opening. Trying to keep those knees, hips distance apart. As you lift your chest. One more inhale here. As high as you can. And exhale, bring everything to the mat. Windshield wipe those legs back and forth. Nice job. All right. We're going to come momentarily into extended child's pose. Spreading your knees out wide, reaching toward the front of your mat. And when you go into this pose, take a moment to recognize how your body feels now compared to how it felt at the beginning. No judgment, just saying, maybe it feels a little different right now. Check in. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders and bring your knees together. And we're going to come into half pigeon, and you have the option to of either coming into figure 4, where you're going to bring your right ankle onto your left upper thigh and sitting up like this, or you can recline onto your back and reach this arm through the hole and pull this way. Or coming into your half pigeon pose. So whatever works for you, go there at this time. Just make sure wherever you are, so we'll start on the right side, wherever you are, just make sure that that right foot is nice and flexed to protect your knee. Keeping those hips square. And you can stay up here if you're in half pigeon, or slowly walking your hands out to your sleeping pigeon pose. If you have yoga blocks or a pillow, and you find that you really want to do half pigeon, but it's really challenging for you, you can grab a block or a pillow and just put it right under that right hip. And I can show you a little bit better on the other side what I mean. It just gives you a little bit of extra support in case you really want to practice this pose. I find it a little too challenging to stay in this way. I can just prop you up a little bit so you can make sure your hips stay nice and square too. Take a deep inhale here. And take a deep exhale. Send that breath all the way down to that right hip. One more. Inhale. Deeper exhale. Send it all the way to your hip. Slowly walk your hands back or come to your comfortable seat if you are in your figure 4. And you can either lean over to the right and come down on your side, push off your hands and go back to downward facing dog. Just kind of move your legs around a little bit. When I come out of half pigeon, I like to do some leg circles. You can also cross one foot over the other and push back just to kind of reset your hips a little bit. And then we're going to come into the other side. And I'll show you what I mean with a block for half pigeon. So whether you're going to your figure 4 or half pigeon, let's go there. Let's do that. On your left side. Making sure that your left foot is nice and flexed. So for your half pigeon, you can see there's a little bit of space here. You can stick a block right in there just to lean on, and it gives just enough support that it's not as much of a deep sensation or stretch. And then you can be here, you can stay up here, whatever works best for you, whatever feels good. So that's an option if you want to practice half pigeon, but it feels like a little too much sensation. Let's really relax into this moment here and be present. Maybe check in with your body, do a quick body scan as you rest into the sensation of this hip opener. Take a deep inhale here through your nose. And a deeper exhale through your nose. Send that breath all the way to that hip. One more here. Slowly walk your hands back underneath your shoulders or come to a seat. You can move your legs and your hip around however feels comfortable for you. Just slow movements, giving that hip the appreciation it needs. And whenever you're ready, just meeting me on your back, let's just put our legs up in the air. Whether it's shoulder stand or just lifting up those feet. Get a little reverse blood flow action here as we get ready to continue with our beautiful day. If you want to come into shoulder stand, bring your elbows to the mat, push off, and reaching those toes to the ceiling. Supporting your back with your hands. Maybe you point and flex your toes. Maybe alternate them. Do some circles. And then slowly lowering down and preparing for Shavasana. If there are any last movements that you want to do, especially maybe a long body stretch here, or coming into happy baby, any other movements that feel good. Oh, I do want to do a twist before the beginning of class. We did a twist. I want to see how we can feel the difference. So you can just put both knees or both of your legs up and then just bring your knees over to the left. So your shins are parallel with the floor, and then just dropping them to one side. If you drop them to your left, maybe take your left hand and gently press on your right leg. Get a little bit more. Those twists at the beginning of class, I could really feel my muscles were tense, and now it just seems so much easier to come into a twist like this. So that's pretty cool. Trying to keep that right shoulder on the ground. And then switch sides. Come back to center. Your shins parallel with the floor, and then drop your legs, your knees right over to the right side. Right hand can come to your right or left leg. You can even gaze in the opposite direction. Give yourself a little extra stretching here. If there's anything else you'd like to do before Shavasana, go ahead and do that now. And when you're ready, extending your legs long, arms up above you, one more long body stretch. Shavasana. And bring your hands, palms up to either side of your body. Legs open wide, just dropping those toes to the side. Tucking your chin and your shoulder blades. Shavasana. Take a deep inhale and a deeper exhale. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circle out your wrists and your ankles. Starting to come back into the room. Come back into your body. You can move your neck, your head side to side, waking up your neck. And when you're ready, curl into a nice big ball. Bring your knees to your chest. Giving yourself a big, big hug. Coming to your mat this morning and going through this power yoga class. And when you're ready, go ahead and roll onto your right side and just rest there. You can use your arm as a pillow. Bring your legs all the way to the ground. Whatever feels comfortable for you. I have a reading to you today from a book by Melody Beattie called Journey to the Heart. It's called Trust Each Step. Stay present for each step of your journey. We don't go from one place to another in a gigantic leap. We get there in increments by going through each feeling, each belief, each experience, one step at a time. Sometimes when we pray for miracles, what we're really praying for is help in skipping steps, for shortcuts. The simple act of acceptance, of returning to each step of our path, can often bring us the miracle we need. Then we see the truth. The real miracle is one always available to each of us. It's the miracle of acceptance. We can go where we want to go, one step at a time. Stay present for each step of your journey. Trust each stage. Many things are possible for you if you accept that the fastest way is one step at a time. And keep your eyes closed and come to a comfortable seat at the top of your mat. Eyes closed, bring your hands to heart center. Thank you so much for practicing today, for coming to meet me on your mat. I hope you enjoy the beauty of today. Namaste.